Hello and welcome back to all my dear students and friends. I am Rabinshu Sharma, Assistant Professor in Department of Journalism and Mass Communication of Babu Banasidas University, Lucknow. So students, I welcome you to all my this video. In my last video, I have discussed with you about the various kinds of audio formats. I have discussed with you about the categories, the three categories of the audio formats. I have discussed with you about the codecs. I have discussed with you about the uncompressed audio format. We have also discussed about the features of the uncompressed file format. What are the lossless compressed audio formats? What are the features? We have also discussed about the most commonly used audio formats, that is MP3 and the WAV and the other MIDI. So I hope you must have got the idea about the formats, and you must have heard about the MP3 whenever you download the audio track. So the deep knowledge about the formats you must have got in that video, I hope so. So today in this video, I'll be talking to you about the studio setup, recording studio setup. Yeah, whenever this word comes to our mind, recording studio setup, generally we think about the mic, we think about the speakers, and apart from these two things, there are many other things that we generally do not think about, the image that don't comes to our mind. So we'll be talking about the various equipments that are used inside the studio. We will be also discussing about the applications, like what are the applications that are used for the recording studio. So let's see this presentation. Today in this content of this PPT will be like types of recording projects. What are the kind of recording projects that you can use, you can take for the recording? What are the applications of the recording studio? What are the recording and mixing studio? Studio layout. Yeah, studio layout is very important and interesting because you'll see the structure, the diagram structure of the inside the studio, how a studio is planned, and what are the important things and the areas that you need to plan while planning a studio. Terminology used in the studio. Yeah, there are a few technical terms in the studio. You'll be get to know about those terms about the studio. And recording studio, acoustic designing, soundproofing and the acoustic design, that is very important in the sound because sound gets echoed. So we need to make those techniques while constructing the studio, that your voice do not get echo while you're recording that audio in the studio. So this is the image that you can see a normal Gen studio have. I have used this image just to give you the idea about the studio. Maybe the studio can differ from the studio where you have used for the recording. But in this, if you see the overall studio, I'll just give in short brief about the studio with the equipments. You can see this two speakers and the monitors are there, like four monitors for the different purposes. One is used for recording, one is used for the on-air, another is maybe used for the playlist, and other for the internet Google to get the more data while the RJ is preparing his or her shows or for the links. And here you can see on the right side, this console is there, faders are there for the programs, and on the right side there is a telephone landline. It's for the phone programs. So this telephone is connected with the audio console, and on the left side you can see here it is a headphone for the audio output. On the back side you can see there is a server room, the programs gets recorded there. It's a kind of library where one can fetch the programs of the later purpose. So these are again two images, like the mic, speakers and other things. On the bottom right also there you can see is in the studio, the mics are there for the recording of the programs. So now let's start with the audio production studio, the recording projects. Yeah, what are the kind of recording projects that a generally recording studio, production studio can take? These projects include, the first is commercial music recording. Yeah, commercial music recording, that can be a pop-up, that can be a rock, that can be classic, that can be for the trance, or that can be for the jazz music, any kind of music, commercial music recording studio can be use, because you cannot record a professional sound standing on the road or sitting at your room. You cannot record by using few equipments and with few ambience. You need to have that ambience inside the studio where it should be acoustic and is soundproof. So these all professional recording projects are done inside the studio. These are not recorded in the outside world. Second one is film music recording. Yeah, every film that you see on the screen that has the film, that music recording. Yeah, every film is recorded. Every the music of the film is recorded. Even the dialogues also are recorded. If you talk about the OTT platform, over the top platform like Amazon, Netflix, the movies on the platform, these platforms also is completely recorded. The music of the films or the web series or the TV is again recorded in the studio. Third one is television and the film production sound. Yeah, again this sound, if the special sound that is used in the editing, the post production, again this used in the studio. Maybe sometimes it is created as per the need, or maybe sometimes if it is free of cost and then it is downloaded. If it is loyalty free, then these are used for the television or for as well for the films also. The dubbing of the dialogues after the recording in the post production, the artist, the film character comes to the studio and records by watching the footage of the video on the screen, and he or she the records or the dub the same sound again and again to get the better output for the audience when they see on screen on with the proper sound system. Because while in shooting in the outside area, many time it happens the voice do not the director do not get the audio as per the need, so this dubbing and recording of the voiceover is done. Surround sound, again this it is there are many times it happens the project comes for the surround sound, and these types of recordings are done. Radio broadcasting and the recording, again for the radio also studios are used. Audio mastering, the patching up, the giving the production or the making the music more accurate and the more good by making these sound effects and then background scores and the other sound tonality. The audio mastering is done inside the studio, but these things comes under the post production and the sound re-recording and the dubbing. So these things are done in the studio. So these are the few projects then the recording projects then that generally a studio takes for the production. Now let's see, there are a few applications of the recording studio. Applications means like what are the things that you can do inside the studio for if you're taking any project, then what are the things, applications that you can do. The first one you can see it's mixing and the mastering project. So you can do the audio mixing track, mixing of the two tracks. You can create your own track by creating or mixing the two tracks of these tracks. MCI console. MCI generally it's model MC JH400. It's a world first commercial in line mixing console. So it's this console is used in the studio. Next one is ADR surround sound. ADR is generally like automate dialogue recorder. It is used generally in the television films or the web series or the series. Then even what happens when the after the recording the studio, the artist, the actress comes to the studio and records the voice for the better sound quality. So it's ADR is used. Post production, the audio editing, it's again a very important part. Many times it happens the fumble comes, or the many time it happens come the ambience or the noise comes in the background. So many times the many kind of filters are used to suppress the noise. So filters are used to suppress the background unwanted audio, and for the cutting and the patching and the mixing of the voiceover, many kind of other things. This post production is used, and post production plays a very important role in the sound in the studio. And the next one, that is recording in the studio, that is known for the recording. So these are the few like 3 5 applications that generally recording studio. There are also other applications you can add in the recording studio if you get in your mind like so. Coming to the next, that is this recording and mixing. It's image that you can see of a studio. There are a few things are labeled, like a mid-level monitor for the audio output, the near field monitor. On the left side you can see it's preamps, Pro Tools, outboard, 2 rack, Audient, power supply, the Mac Apple system is there on the bottom. This outboard, this a patchway. So next in this you can see here's again a studio from the and the right angle, this Mackie control. So these are the few things in the studio. You'll get to know about these things. Next, you can see this is a space of different size, offering different acoustic properties. This many times the bands that comes to the studio for the recording, the mastering, or the surround sound mixing, they take a space to record these things. This you can see here is post production. The surround sound studio is there. On the back side, you can see the kind of control room is there, where the person who is recording, who is controlling the computer, the system, or who is controlling the console for changing the sound frequency, bass. On the other side, the guitarist is sitting there and is playing this instrument to record, and the wires are connected on both the rooms, and they're interconnected, and the output goes there and recording is done on the backside. And this you can see it's a glass window, and the glass window that is used to get the cues, and this glass is soundproof, and the voice cannot go from the other side, and other side voice cannot come to this side. And there's a silicon balls inside this glass, so that moisture do not comes in the rainy season. Generally it comes, the moisture comes inside the glass, so silicon balls are used to that they are good in absorbing the moisture. Now let's discuss about the studio layout. Regardless of the equipments, studio configuration is basically the same in all studio. Maybe in all, maybe few things you will find different in the every studio, but more or less you will find the things same. So now let's see, this is a studio layout diagram. You can see on the upper side this is the live room, and the bottom side it's control room. What do I mean with the live room and what do I mean with the control room? Yeah, these are the two different terms you can see. The live room means live. The name, from the name, it's clear live. Yeah, something that is live is going on. Like there are three people of the band. One is guitarist, another one is singer, another one is drummist. So three people who are performing in a particular room. So that is the live room. For example, if I'm saying recording the video, I'm doing action, so I'm in the live room, and the person who is on the other room and who is recording, who is controlling the computer for the recording on, recording off, or who has the mixing desk and the other equipment, he is in the other one, that is control room. So in recording in live room, like mics are there, headphones are there, the monitors are there for the output, the lines and the DI box is there. In the control room, the other room which is connected, which is just opposite to the live room, where the controllers or the sound engineer is sitting there, and he is controlling the entire computer with the softwares, and he is recording the giving the control to recording on and recording off for the my program. And he or she is having a mixing desk, or he or she could change the my voice thickness or heaviness if it is, if he or she feels so. So the other part, they have the monitoring of the my voice wave, so they can give like things. So we'll discuss these things in details in the coming slide. This you can see they have this microphone, and they have the DI box, they have the lines, the kind of wires that are connected to the live room and the control room, and in between the live and the control room inside the studio there is a glass that I have already discussed, glass with the silicon balls. This is the connection, like the studio live room has the lines like these, like 5 to 10 lines, and the same lines the receiving in the control room, like 5 to 10 lines in the control room, and it is connected with the wire. You can see this control room has this mixing desk. You can see it's red in the highlighted. So you can see this highlighted one, this mixing desk, and why it is used. So this is known as the recording path or the channel path. This highlighted red colored one you can see. This is known as the recording or the channel path. Many times in the studio it is like this call it channel path or the recording path. So the recording is done here. Maybe it's a kind of server, and server recording soft copy that soft file of the recording goes in this area. This is known as the monitor or the monitor path or tape return path, you can say. So after recording this, the output comes to the recording. The audio when it comes from the line from the mic to the line via this wire, so it comes to this mixing desk. So this is known as the monitor tape path or the tape return. This is the monitor, the screens. You can see the wave, you can change the wave, you can get the command, give the command. It's a 2 track and it's outboard. And up the above side you can see there's a microphone, headphone, the lines, monitors, and that's. Now let's see the terminology that I have used right now in the studio layout. Microphone, the first, that is of which there are many different brands in the market that right now they exist. Like if you see Shure mic, the AKG, Newman, like you can also use Sennheiser mic. So these are the various kinds of mic in the market. These are the brands that are a few leading brands, and there's a competition. And there are many rivals brands are also there. Many cheap brands are also there. Many Chinese brands are also there. People buy these mics as per their requirement and as per their budget and as per their convenience. So they do, and these mics have different kinds of designs that I have already discussed. The types of microphone like dynamic microphone, condenser microphone, ribbon, and like directional, unidirectional, omnidirectional. So various kinds of microphones are available. People use these microphones as per their requirement. So in design, you can see the dynamic condenser and the ribbon microphones. DI box that I have used just now. The DI box is there. So this DI box you can see in the live room on the left side. This DI box in the live room. So what is DI box? DI, the full form of DI is direct injection box. So DI is direct injection. So DI box for the line level sources, that is bass, keyboard, and the mixer. So these are the various options. There are options in the live studio also. For example, if I am a guitarist or if I am a keyboard player or I am a piano player, so I have the option to change the bass of that instrument output or to mix some another option of my keyboard or my guitar. So and in the live room also, for the artist, they have or he or she have the option to change the bass or the keyboard mixer lines. So this direct box DI box is used for that. Although there are option in the post production also, or in the mixing desk, that is in control room, they have the option there also. But generally if you use this in the if artists use control the input in the studio live room, then things could be done better in that. The cables that we use to connect microphones are called XLR cable. It's called XLR cable. So here in red light highlighted, you can see there's a red color microphones. The microphones that are connected with the lines that comes to the and here in the mixing desk. These are connected with the XLR cable. These are the balanced connections which reduce the interference. So that's why XLR cables are used to avoid the interference. A lot of cables are there in the studio, so many time it happens the interference creates disturbances, earthing, noise. So XLR cables are the best for this. These tie lines, this tie lines you can see in the left side, which are right side, which is connecting the two studios, the live room and the control room. These are which is connecting the both the ones. So this tie lines, the 24 lines in the studio, this returns or foldbacks the headphone. Mixing desk for audio engineering, Soundcraft host. This mixing the tracks of it has a lot of like 8 or 16 channels, so which has the lot of inputs, and the engineer has the option to control the lines, to control the channel, and mix the sound and fade in, fade out, and the other kind of creativity can do. This left side in the control room, you can see there's a recording highlighted in the red color box. Stand-alone hard disk system. It's IZ radar, computer-based hard disk system, Pro Tools. So many all the various recording systems that can be used for the recording system as per the program, as per the reach of the radio, and as per the requirement, and as per the projects. You can change your technology of the storage. Outboarding process. In the control room, this option, another one, that is outboarding. Outboard. So this outboarding process. Here you have the option to add the sound reverberation, delay, chorus in the phaser. When the sound comes from the mic, and when it goes to the mixing desk from the lines, like for example in the live room, you can see here's a mic, an artist is speaking or singing, the voice comes from this line, this XLR cable, and this voice comes through the XLR cable to this another tie box, then die lines, and here it comes to the outbox, then it goes to the mixing desk. So generally sorry, it comes from the tie lines, it comes to the mixing desk, and then it comes to the outbox. So you have the option to give some reverberation, like you can say simply, you can say you can give some echo reverberation, or you can give some delay effect, or you can give some chorus or the phaser. So it's, in short, this outboard processing is a box of effects, of sound effects, which you can add while recording while handling the studio in the control room. You can give these effects if you feel like that it is in need of the hour, it's a requirement of the project, so you can add that. Coming to this two track, it's a CD recordable digital, that's an audio tape, that is DAT, and a computer based system, that's Pro Tool. Also generally nowadays it's used. It was a later was a time CDs and cassettes were used, but in nowadays also every radio studio has, basically if you talk about the radio industry, they have the backup of the CD player and the cassette player. Maybe it happen, might be it happen, like due to some technical fault, the server gets crashed. So there is no option to go like some technical device gets failed, like mics gets failed, or the electricity of the entire city gets zero. So although after having a backup of the generator and inverters, you need to plan some backup. So CD recorder, CD players and the audio players are there to do all those things, to give the backup, and something should be gets on air and people should listen that. So now let's discuss the recording studio acoustic design. Yeah, you need to know about the what are the designings of the acoustic studio. So recording studio. This recording studio is an assemblage of equipment, spaces, and persons, such as that the performance in sound may be created and recorded onto a medium for later reproduction or the post production. Reverberation. Reverberation is the collection of reflected sound. In short, you can see it's echo. So reverberation is the collection of reflected sound from the surfaces in an enclosure like an auditorium. It is a desirable property of auditorium to the extent that it helps to overcome the inverse square law drop off of sound in the closure. This inverse square law of this technical thing, so we'll don't go deeply into that. However, it is excessive. It makes the sound run together with loss of articulation. The sound becomes muddy, garbaged. To quantitatively characterize the reverberation, the parameters called the reverberation time is used. This diagram, you can see, you can get the idea, a lot of idea about the reverberation. The reverberant sound in this is the collection of all reflected sound. Here you can see is the person standing over here, and this person who is sitting here. So this person who is saying, like, the audio, you can see the reflected first comes to this wall, then it goes to the top, then it comes to the ears of this person. Me, and some sound is, the pattern is like this. So in the some sound pattern is, it's, and the some sound is direct sound. In the bottom you can see he is saying, some voice waves are going directly to his ears, and some are going from some are getting one time reflected and some are getting times reflected. So the reverberant sound is the collection of all the reflected sound, maybe one time or maybe two times. So the reverberant sound is the collection of all the reflected sound. Recording studio acoustic, this time the desired acoustic properties of the recording studio are in many ways the opposite of those in the auditorium. Instead of enhanced reverberation, it is usually desirable for the recording studio to be acoustically dead, having a very short reverberation time. If you talk about the importance, not only does this requires the enclosure itself to be very absorbent sound, but soundproofing is also very important. Many times it happens the soundproofing is not done properly, but the absorbent thing is done. So later that one can identify the flaws in the studio. So that needs to be rectified, or that needs to be kept in mind while designing the studio. In order to prevent the passage of low frequency sound such as traffic noise, many times it happens if the studio is located in the traffic area of the city. So in order to prevent the passage of low frequency sound such as traffic, air noise, aircraft noise, etc., the recording enclosure is often isolated from the main structure with double wall, just to prevent this. Since low frequency sounds are much more efficiently borne by solid structure than high frequency, the suspended room within the room, the suspended room within the room strategy minimizes structural linking of the recording room to the foundation of building. Careful sealing of the enclosure and careful design of the heating and air conditioning system are necessary. If you do not do these things, for example, if you have a fan in your room, so that will increase the noise. Maybe fan is moving, the air comes directly from this fan to the mic, so then the mic mic has in his system noise also, and the external noise will be moved. So in that case we use the air conditioner. Sometimes additional bass traps are employed to further reduce low frequency background. Careful sealing of the enclosure and of the careful design of the heating and air conditioning systems are necessary. See this diagram. This person who is standing over here, and he is or she is clapping on the side, and here is the ear of the other person. So this is the direct sound that directly comes to the ear without getting reflected. This pink line is the first reflection from the right side wall. This is the first reflection. The another one is like it's the diffusers are there on the extreme end of the wall. This is a studio, so this is the diffusers are there. So diffuser disperses rear wall reflection. So maybe this voice comes to this place, and if just imagine if there is some straight wall, so it will automatically gets reverb, but here it is a diffuser. So when the voice comes to this place, this is this getting dispersed to the various directions. And on the bottom you can see there is a sound coming on the bottom. This absorbent is there which removes the left side wall reflection. So diffuser and absorbent, these plays a very important role inside the studio, and you need to keep in mind while planning a studio sound recording studio. Is soundproofing. Now what is soundproofing? Soundproofing of room involves the isolation of that room from audible sound from the outside, and may be taken to include the acoustic damping of the room itself, preventing the entrance of the sound from outside is accomplished by sealing openings and making the walls absorbent of sound and minimizing the passage of sound energy through the solid structure of the wall. Sound absorbing material such as foam insulation in the wall helps in with both the sealing and the bond absorbing of mid-range to high frequency sound, but bass frequencies tends to efficiently bond through solid structure. To isolate a room such as a recording studio from low frequency, the room within a room approach is often taken. Many people follow this technique. A double wall structure can greatly reduce bass transmission, but this room within room is this approach is often taken. So, bass traps. The damping of unwanted sounds is an important feature of sound of recording studio. The bass frequencies are often troublesome because they diffract through the small opening and are more efficiently structure bound into the recording area. Bass traps which make use of nature of cavity resonance are used to advantage. If a particular frequency, if a particular bass frequency range in troublesome, a large cavity can be constructed which will offer resonant absorption in that frequency range. Some recording studio have closet like carpeted enclosure which have a movable baffle as the opening. Positioning the baffle can tune the absorption since the area of the opening is one of the variables which determines the resonant frequency of cavity. A tuned cavity which is reflected can enhance the sound at resonant frequency as in the bass reflex speaker. But if the cavity is covered in absorbing material, it will selectively absorb surround energy at that frequency. Now let's see the construction techniques. What are the construction techniques that you keep in mind? This wall technique, this wall, the building of a home recording studio requires a good wall. Most effective soundproofing must be designed into a house when it is first built. A typical residential wall is made up of frame of 2 by 4 wood studs covered with 5 by 8 inches thick gypsum board. Doubling the thickness of the gypsum gives another 3 to 6 decibel of overall isolation. But it's important if but its most important effect is lowering the resonant frequency, hopefully below the audio range. There are two common strategies for reducing coupling between the two sides of the wall. One is to make the gypsum to stud connection springy. either by using metal stud or by hanging the gypsum board on resilient metal bars. The most effective trick is to use separate studs for each face of the wall, so there is no direct connection. This eats up a lot of space, which gives the transmission loss of over 60 decibel. This is actually better performance than simple cinder block or poured concrete construction. The picture shows the blue wall struts attached to one side and the green ones to the other. Dialogue is looking down at the top of the wall. You can see the green one and the blue one. These are the two sides of the wall. Now, if we talk about the insulation and the floors, so if we see the insulation, the key idea is to consider the fill the wall with cellulose insulation. The result is much more sound blocking, showing cellulose in the wall and fiberglass in the floor. All the joints where studs meet the outside wall. This makes the wall airtight and increases the soundproofing. Not let's see about the flow. This is an effective way of decouple the floor from the structure, helping to eliminate the noise traveling in the frame of the building. This is the technique you can see in the image. Let's see about the acoustic treatment. It's very important for the radio, the acoustic treatment, because initially if it is not done, then later problem gets comes the way. This diffusers and absorbers, as I have already discussed right now, the diffusers which elevates the sound in the various parts, and the absorbers which absorbs the sound. I have shown you the image right now. It's like that only. Diffusers are used to reduce or eliminate repetitive echoes that occurs in rooms having parallel walls and flat ceiling. Although there are different philosophies about how much natural reverberation recording studio and listening rooms should have, all professional studio designers agree that periodic reflections caused by the parallel walls are best avoided. Therefore, diffusion is often used in addition to absorption to same these reflection. The simplest type of diffuser is one or more sheets of plywood attached to the wall at the side angle to prevent sound from bouncing repeatedly between the same two walls. Alternatively, the plywood can be bent into curved shape through the that is more difficult in installation. In truth, this is really a deflector, not the diffuser. So as discussed, as described in the more detailed with diagram. However, the deflector should avoid flutter echoes between parallel space. This image you can see it's a fiber based trap. So now is again it's important one, fiber based traps. There are a number of ways to increase base trap. The simplest and the least expensive is to install large amount of thick rigid fiberglass, spacing it well away from the wall or ceiling. As noted, this 705 FRK, this has 4 inches thick and is spaced 16 inch away from the wall. That can be quite effective for the frequencies that below 125 hertz. But many rooms have severe severe problems for far below 125 hertz and losing 20 inches all around the room for thick fiberglass, and large airspace is unacceptable to most studio owners and audiophiles. Fortunately, more efficient base traps designs are available that are much smaller. However, studios on a tight budget can apply rigid fiberglass in the room corner as shown in figure 3a and lose only the small amount of space in the corner. This image you can see. nails of the screw. On the right side is fabric, rigid fiber. This is the what is there in behind, like below these flow. So thank you for watching this presentation. I hope you must have got the idea about the studio recording, like what is there in the studio, how it is recorded and how it is used in various other things. If you are planning and you have got the opportunity to set up a studio, so you must have got the ideas about the diffuser, absorbent, flow should be there, live room, control room, the mixer, mic, headphones. So I hope you must have got a lot of new idea about the studio. So I hope you like this video. If you like this video, please like, share and subscribe this video and stay connected with me. This is Rabinshu Sharma. Thank you for watching this video.